I think we can all appreciate the mellowness of that intro. Shout out to JC for hooking us up here at the TSA Hoop Show every single time the man comes through. So if you guys are following him at JC Money Design on X, let the man work as the world works through us. Good morning, y'all. Very mellow, calm morning here in nice chilly Ben Lomond here in the Santa Cruz Mountains. It is your boy JR. This is the TSA Hoop Show. If you guys are just joining us, or if you live, or if you are watching this later on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to our channel at the Sports Affiliation. Check us out on sportsaffiliation.com, where we'd like to bring you as much sports info as we can. Try to help increase not only your affiliation, with sports overall, but we do a little prop betting, we do a little sports betting. We add a little bit of enrichment to your life every day. Actually really excited this morning because up until Saturday started, we had a very normal week in the NBA. Very, very normal. And then yesterday and Saturday happened, and now with March Madness right around the corner, we got a let's just go. Let's go. Before we get started, this man's been clocking in regularly like it's his job. Nice man next to me. I appreciate you coming in, Rico. You're muted, sir. Hold on. There we go.
Clocking in like it's my job.
I mean, you hear on the regular, man. You've been hitting it every week, man.
Hey, look, we ain't at that point yet, but at some point, I feel like, you know, it could be a nice little chunk of change coming in, but no.
Soon, we all hope that stuff like that starts to unfold, man. First of all, good morning. We ought to work backwards on this one. You posted the pool shot yesterday. For those that don't know, the Jordan Poole shot. Of all the sports is weird, man. Of all the teams to beat Denver yesterday, the Washington Wizards beat the Denver Nuggets yesterday, y'all. I don't know how I feel about that. I personally take offense to that because, yeah, the Lakers had a chance, and the pin down, whatever you want to call it, the rub, the illegal screen, whatever you want to call it, Jokic did to get Jamal Murray open. Game shouldn't be that close against the Lakers, but Denver then goes ahead. Close win against a Lakers team without LeBron, without Luka, without Jackson Hayes, all pivotal parts to the Lakers' success over the course of late January, mid-February. Then they go into Washington and play with their food, and their food came back and made fans sick.
Off of Jordan Poole,
Off a
heat check, no less. Because I looked at that shot. I'm like, I understand the clock's running. It's 5 seconds left on the inbound of the ball, and like, granted, you got a lot of time to do a lot of things in 5 seconds. And Yo notices to just pull a heat check, and I'm like, oh Lord. like when I saw the clip and I was like, I was scrolling through my timeline on Twitter. I was like, what did Jordan Poole do? Man, I'm going through looking at the timeline and I see the video. And I'm like, oh, 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 okay,
That's what I said.
okay.
I said, oh, excuse me. That's what we're doing with 5 seconds left. We're just pulling up from like Poole want to be Curry so bad, man. It makes me so mad sometimes. Like you need a 2 to tie, all right, a 3 to win, but not a. God, if I'm Alex Sarr watching this, I would be like, "This is my future. Get me out of here, please." Someone said, I think it was a Lakers follower that said, Wizards been playing pretty different since Kyle Kuzma got out of there.
Boy, stop, stop.
Hating on my boy Kuz, man. I
He ain't
miss
do nothing
Kuz.
to nobody.
I miss Kuzma. Man, you want to talk about the fallout effect, butterfly effect of like former Lakers and where they're at right now. I think the one with the most survivability at this point has been Jordan Clarkson in Utah. I think that what he has been able to establish in Utah as far as culture and be such a great leader of that team. And yeah, I'm really talking about Jordan Clarkson that way because we know the Jordan Clarkson that we got, and he wasn't clowning around, but he wasn't. He was a lottery pick,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he's playing more like that since he got to Utah than up until that point. But man, Jordan Clarkson has the best survivability because between him, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball,
Julius Randle.
Julius Randle. I'm just talking about guys that like went from team to team that should have been the guy, but just didn't pan out. I mentioned that in the same breath as Jordan Poole because Jordan Poole's not the guy. I'm sorry. Denver, you lost to not the guy.
You're not that guy, pal.
Iggy, I hope you watch this later and know that if I were you, I would continue punching the air for the next 48 hours. Like, just, I would wake up angry. I would wake up like peaceful because, get a good sleep, stretch a little bit, and then boom, it just hit me. And I remember we lost to not the guy. That's not the, I'm cool with like, I don't even know who's on the team. Marcus Smart. I would be okay with Marcus Smart hitting that shot. Okay. I would be okay with Chris Middleton hitting that shot. I'm
Oh,
not. Yes. Yeah. Because Chris Middleton has hit a bunch of shots like that from Milwaukee. Just proven to be
it is
that
what it
guy.
is. Yeah. It's just funny looking at that span of like what was it, 48 hours. They play us in a close game. We're down multiple starters playing with the back end of our roster.
Yeah.
Most of those guys stepped up and played well. Austin Reeves, which I may have a tangent on him in a second in a good way, but
Mm.
they play well. And then like you said, you're playing with your food against Washington, and you lose on a heat check 3 to Jordan Poole like a couple days later. Like
Life comes at you fast.
I'm wondering like. I understand Denver, like they're currently sitting at that 2 spot, but it's like, how real is that 2 spot for them? Like with the
Um,
way they've been playing the last couple of days.
it's funny
And
that you ask because I think of of all the teams that are going to maintain a spot, I think Denver. Well, let's realistically look into that, y'all. Let's get into some standings right now, okay? We promise y'all wars. We promise y'all deep dives today. Again, the title of the show is Separation Anxiety. While I'm looking that up, don't forget to make bets on Drafters app where you can get your first deposit matched up to $100 if you put in the code TSA bets. Make sure you put in some solid lineups like Jordan Poole hitting a 3-pointer to win the game. to get your money's worth. Someone put in a comment said, whoever put in that Wizards made an investment on Wizards money line is getting their money back tenfold today. And amen, I agree. Somebody is having some mimosas on deck
Oh, they felt bold.
because they said, I'm going to the pool party too. Thank you. Splash, 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 splash. All right. We all know the playoffs ended today. It will be a nice little. Ooh, we get the Grizzlies first round because we're all the way down into the 5th seed.
Hmm.
I like it. I don't like that that we be playing against. It's an injury riddled team versus injury riddled team because that's where Memphis is at right now. We talked about them last week and the effect that all the injuries have had with them, but they've increased their winnings. They got their first win in a while yesterday. Houston's at number 2, thanks to the tiebreaker. Denver's at number 3, Memphis 4, Lakers 5, and the winning dubs. The Golden State Warriors and Minnesota Timberwolves are both on winning streaks. I told y'all. I told y'all. I told y'all Minnesota ain't nothing to play with, man. They've been figuring it out. You know what we need to do? We'll do this like this. Let's look at their schedules. Okay, so how viable is it that Denver closes out as a number 2? All right, you ready for the remainder of the schedule?
Let's hear it.
I'm gonna give you the next 10. Okay. No, I'll give you the next 5. Let's do the batch of 5 because that gives us almost to the end of March. At Golden State, at Lakers, at Portland, at Houston, and then they come home in the first home game for their homestand is against Chicago.
So they got 4 straight on the road, and then they come back to play Chicago.
Yes, I see. Okay, so the worst out of this trip would be 1-4. Golden State, they play Monday. So they got a day's rest from being at home. They lost at home against Washington. Just keep that in mind. So, yeah, this little home stretch has not been fun for them. They lost 2 at home, 1 versus Minnesota, part of their win streak, and they lost the other one versus Washington. So they got to go to Golden State and then Lakers. That's their California trip, Portland, whatever, West Coast. It's a weird way to travel.
Is that Warriors Lakers back to back, or is there a game in between?
There's a day in between.
Okay.
But they go, damn, actually, ugh. They play every other day for a week straight. That's horrible. They went 15.
Just do it back to back.
They went 14th, 15th. First of all, that makes a lot of sense now. Wow. Okay, they played at home on the 14th, then played again on the 15th against Washington. So AG sitting makes a lot of sense on that game. That's Aaron Gordon, y'all, for those that aren't too tapped in. Yeah, let me share this with y'all right now because okay, so no, that's not the one I want to share. Let's try this again. Share screen. There we go. All right. Let's just go ahead and take a look at this, y'all. Okay, so right here is what I'm talking about. So first of all, I keep falling backwards into this. Okay, so they played on the 14th. Then they played on the 15th. They play on the 17th. That's tomorrow. Then they play on Wednesday. Then they play on Friday. Then they play on Sunday. Then they play on Monday again. This is what happens when you try to finish all your homework at the end of the day. This is what we call the NBA's style of procrastination. They try to fit in. They try to fit in too many games towards the end. Man, they're trying to kill this team. Um,
Hey, I mean, we the one that's playing like three back to backs in the span of like a week span.
yeah,
So,
but we're not here to complain about being Lakers fans.
nah,
Yeah,
fair. All right, no, you right. You right. We're talking about Denver right now.
just
So,
yeah, we got time for that. I think the worst thing that could happen to Denver right now is fatigue. I think it's happening to a lot of the top tier teams. Memphis is one to note. Houston is one where they're starting to get fully healthy again. They're still missing Thompson in that lineup. Um, so they're just Houston's a Shengun injury away from losing that 2 seed. And I mean, one of the matchups is on the 23rd. So Sunday at 4 or 7 Eastern time, and it's at Houston. So I think that's a game that that Denver could possibly drop. But they win that game against Houston, they're back up in the 2 spot. Standings right now are that they are tied. So Houston, if they run into the same issue where they split their series or they go 1-4, whatever, the one game that they just can't drop is against Denver, and that's it. They're solid. They have, as far as Houston is concerned, their next 5 versus Philadelphia, versus Orlando, Miami, then that Denver game, then Atlanta. Okay, so now it's becoming less real for Denver to make that number 2.
that is a nice stretch for Houston, though.
So that, I mean, I you could have an easier stretch, but the strength of schedule for them versus Denver is completely the opposite. Denver is going through a Portland team that seems to still believe that they can make playoffs. They're not punting this season whatsoever. They are really playing ball.
Mathematically, they're not eliminated yet. The only two out west that are eliminated are Spurs and
Which is
Pelicans. So,
which I think Portland should be in a prime example of a team that should be able to, if they don't make playoffs, they should be able to earn decent lottery odds and still be able to play basketball. I think it's fair to say that like a lot of these guys could be playing for a career outside of Portland next season, but not because the team is horrible, but because the team is it's such a weird mix up of talent right now at certain positions that like there's no clarity as to how they want to play ball. So everyone's just playing really well. So that way you're gonna start seeing guys like shift roles and stuff like that. But I think they're a really good example of a team that's definitely like a lottery team, but how to continue to find success throughout the season without punting the season, without making an atrocity of the image. So shout out to Portland, but that's a team that Denver should not mess with. They should be able to come in and take care of their business against us in Los Angeles, because right now we're still trying to figure out the health of what we have left of our bigs, and the right now the play of Luka Doncic, his decision making skills on offense are still questionable. So to be able to take a full advantage of that, I think would be the best thing for I almost said Coach Carl. Coach George Carl. I'm having a dad moment.
uh
Sometimes when Coach starts going off about the Lakers, with the Who's Your Daddy and Denver fans start chirping and stuff like that, I start thinking, y'all haven't shut down Coach Carl's Twitter account or X account yet. So
nah. And
until
what's
you,
funny is him and what is it? The fact that him and Group, I don't know if you know Guru on Twitter. Oh,
him
you
and
know, all right, I was like, I know.
him and Swiper.
The fact that they keep going back and forth is the funniest thing ever. Like the first time I seen that on the timeline, I'm like, oh wait, he really got a beef with him. Like, coach, what you doing?
He called Guru out by name.
I'm like, dog.
If anyone calls out my handle that's been there and they call my handle out by name,
Oh, you know
not
you.
just typing it in, I've made it.
That's rent free. I'm sorry.
That's rent free. That's a parking, bro. That's a covered parking spot. You know how much it
One.
costs to get a covered parking spot? You got the Lambo parked there. You ain't never have to worry about weather ever again. You can weather any storm. It probably got solar too. I got that electric engine too.
uh,
Thank you. Yeah, Denver's in danger losing that number 2 spot, but then again, you go at what cost? Because I mean, bracketology states that if you are the 2 seed, you don't have to worry about having OKC until, you know, Western Conference
conference finals.
Finals. It becomes a lot of other teams' problem. That 4 or 5 becomes even more dangerous because 4 or 5 is dangerous because of OKC. So I think if you're Denver, you have enough separation against the rest of the field to survive being 3 and then possibly jump to 2 just because of the standings. Houston has known to drop a game. Again, they're going to be playing Orlando, and Orlando is in there, but how they finish is going to determine how they decide to mess up someone's playoff run. And getting each and every win is super important to them. So that may put a dent in Houston's run to try to maintain at number 2. But that matchup, that head-to-head matchup, given the standings, I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna depend on who Denver sees now. I think we're gonna start seeing some jockeying for certain positions. I think Denver is going to try for number 2, and I think they're going to get it. I think it's just going to come down to the last handful of games for each team. Because to close out the season for Denver, last 5 at Golden State, home versus Indiana. Then they travel back halfway to go to Sacramento. At home against Memphis, another team that's like in there in the midst of it. And their last game is at Houston.
So they got Houston twice between now and the end of the season.
If the standings ended today, who would you rather play? That's the question. Would you rather play uh would you rather play the winner of it would be Golden State versus Minnesota versus the Clippers, and I think Minnesota comes out on top on that. Would you rather play the winner of Minnesota Clippers, or would you rather play Golden State? That's the question. And I think I would rather play the winner of Minnesota Clippers in a 7-game series because you still have, I think you have the right personnel to beat a Minnesota or Los Angeles. I don't think you have the right personnel or the star power because talk about getting foul calls has been a huge topic this season.
Mm.
And then right after that, you have to play whoever, either your 2-7 or 3-6. Then you play the winner of the 2-7. So the 2-7, if it's, you might get Houston again. I think that they're sitting pretty. I don't think it matters to Denver, but very long-winded 10-minute explanation of what Denver's going to do. Denver reaches it, but I think it's going to be hard for them to maintain it, though.
So at worst, you think what 3 seed?
3, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
just by record, I think that there's enough. There's a 3-game gap from 3 to 4.
Mm.
If I read that right, yeah. Nope. I take that back. Hold the phone. Pump the brakes. JR, you have the thing right in front of you. Why you say there's a 3 game separation between 3 and 4? There's not. There's a 3 game separation between 2, 3, and 4 and 5. So 2, 3, and 4 are all at 43 and 25.
What?
It's a three-way. It's a three-way tie, and Houston wins the tiebreaker because they smashed on both teams this season. So Lakers sit at 40 and 25.
This is why year in and year out, the West is always a bloodbath. Like it's always like this every year since I've been starting to watch basketball. The West has always been a dog eat dog world, and everybody's like battling themselves almost
Well, yeah,
until the playoffs.
yeah. I feel like we said this last year.
It's like a never ending story.
I mean, it's crazy that we're in. I want to say right now. I want to say we're in playoff contention because we're 2 games. We're mathematically 2 games ahead of Golden State, but they're just a win behind the Lakers right now. Just one win, and they're on a burner right now. They won 7 straight. Off. All right, real quick. Which would give you more anxiety? If you're Cat and you get crossed by Draymond Green for a go-ahead shot to win a closely contested game, or to lose at home versus Jordan Poole on a heat check, which would give you more anxiety?
I would say Draymond because if I'm getting crossed by Draymond, like no, no, that's I can live by a Jordan Poole like heat check three. A Draymond cross? No, I'm not. That's on a highlight reel forever. I'm not living that down.
I need to I need to pull up the clip because Cat walked off. He stormed off.
Oh no, I saw it was him and Mitchell Robinson, both of them.
Pissed. I have not gotten my get back for what Draymond said about me ducking Jimmy Butler, which is still to this day 19,000 levels of messed up.
Uh,
Holding media members accountable. Well, Draymond isn't part of the media. He's just part of social media, which is different. He's just on a platform. So I would not give him his credit yet. But I think that I would go with the Jordan Poole shot. Jordan Poole shot would give me more anxiety because we're the Denver Nuggets, bro. That's what I would be saying. If I'm Cat, I got beat by a 4-time NBA champion. All right. So he knows how to pull out some tricks, whatever. He got away with kicking players in the nuts for like seasons on end. So let's just call it like it is. Like we lost that game. Whatever. Yeah, lost against Draymond Green. Draymond Green is still an NBA level player, so he still gives buckets. It's not. Get it twisted. Dennis Rodman will come on the court right now and dunk on someone's head. Okay, let's not get it twisted. But Jordan Poole, he checked us into an L, bro. Like,
but I've seen Jordan Poole pull up heat checks before. Like that. That's
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if you've seen it before. It's still disrespectful. That's what it is. It's disrespectful. What did Mark Jackson say? Hand down, man down. You could have at least put some effort into the shot. Like, come up to the line, pretend like you're getting guarded. Like, Tyrese Halliburton had more effort in his shot than Jordan Poole had in his, okay? And Milwaukee fans are still pissed at Halliburton. They're like, yeah, someone said we swept the Pacers for the season series. I was like, no, you didn't.
I'm about to say
You were just going off and burning your social media platform about the Halliburton shot. Where was the foul? 4-point play. We all saw.
Yeah, I went back and looked at it. I was like, yeah, you can't.
I
You're not
still
denying that.
I still think the pull shot was worse. I'm starting to sound like Paul George after Dame hit that one shot.
That's a
That was a
bad
bad
shot.
shot. I don't care what no one says. I'm surprised no one clipped that together. Someone should have clipped that together.
I'm gonna
Someone
be
needs to
real
clip
with
that
you.
together. Hey, if you guys are watching this show and you see this later, do me a favor. You tag me in it at 4F Apollo, okay? And you put in the quotations that was a bad shot. And I want you to piece together that Paul George post game presser and the pool shot, Jordan pool shot. Clip that together. I will be forever grateful. We will put that up on the show. Okay. You understand me? You will get a shout out.
Uh, oh my
Love,
goodness.
love, peace, and chicken grease to the game of basketball. The basketball gods are absolutely tearing through the league right now. It is March Madness, and we're gonna steal that right now. We're not talking college ball. We'll get to the tournaments and stuff in a little bit. We might even be throwing out a contest of some sort. Keep an eye out, keep an ear out. Real quick, we got to talk about Dallas.
Oh,
I think it's pretty important to talk about Dallas because the I'll say it, I got two perspectives on this. The media side and then the basketball side. Okay, the media side, real quick. Dallas is still like they're still playing. They're still playing ball. Down there at the last play-in spot at 33 and 35. They'd be playing the Sacramento Kings today. This is crazy. The Phoenix Suns are 1.5 games. The Phoenix Suns, the somewhat even more healthy, more well-staffed Phoenix Suns are a game and a half behind Dallas, which played 7 players the other day, got down to 6, and almost had to forfeit a game because they did not have enough players, active players. Everyone, this is cruelty beyond measure. Someone needs to go ahead and sacrifice something to allow, like, absorb some of whatever the basketball gods are giving because they are making it rain on Dallas right now. Between so the latest injury, Dante Exum, who get some playing time every now and then, has gotten a lot more playing time
he's
because
gotten a lot
Melo's
more playing time.
broken left thumb. I think is what it was.
Yeah, it's a broken finger. I don't know if it was a thumb, but it was a broken finger. They said he's out
Blood don't have to glove
indefinitely.
up. I'm sorry, it's football time. You don't have to glove up and get a padded glove, and you have to go out there and you just got to dribble and shoot one handed. There's a the, what's the kid's name that's got one hand that was the viral sensation. He,
I
he
know who
went
you're talking about, but I can't remember his name.
he went to college, like a D2 college or D1 college. I'm trying to think of what his name is. Anyway, there are hoopers out there that hoop with one hand. Dante Exum probably gonna have to figure it out because right now the active who these boys play. This is just so sad. I mean, ever since the trade deadline, actually, I take that back. The injuries to Dallas themselves started well before the trade deadline. So it's not the basketball god saying, "Oh, you want to go ahead and punt the team? Well, you really gonna punt the team now." Um, their bigs. Uh
I thought we had a problem with no bigs. They got it worse than us.
I mean, it started with Derek Lively being injured. So let's just start there. And they were waiting for him to come back. Because he was one of their premier bigs. Gafford was injured for a little bit, so he was helping them out. They lost what's his name to the Clippers. So, they got their starting bigs, I want to say more particularly, were out for a long while, a good chunk of the season. Then Luka and Kyrie kind of start going back and forth as far as being in and out. Kyrie with his back injuries, and then Luka with his lower back. Of course, they start going in and out. Then the trade happens, and then the speed bag. That's what the basketball gods are doing with the bodies of all of their players. We need give me a I need an injury report.
Bruh. It's as long as a damn CVS receipt right now, I would imagine.
And I want to say this because the team is still playing because all right, here we go. As of last night, Kai Jones out, Jaden Hardy out, Dante Exum out, Caleb Martin, who they just acquired not too long ago from Philly, day to day. Brandon Williams, he's probable for Sunday. Prosper out for the remainder of the season. Repair on right wrist injury. So that's like, okay, you're injured. We're probably not going to make a deep playoff run. Just go ahead and go out. Anthony Davis still out. He might be coming back, though. Gafford out. Lively out. And as of March 4th, Kyrie out. That was that Lakers game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. My math is not that good. How many players are on the basketball team?
15.
Rico, you can still move. You can still move. I think you're closer to Dallas than I am.
I'll be operating on a 10-day contract. But no. I actually, I'm glad you said that though, because the fact of the matter is they are, and this is where contract situation comes into play. Like the whole first and second apron thing, they're not even in a position to sign anybody to the roster right now because they don't have enough money because they're like a certain amount over like the first apron or something. I saw a snippet of it and I can't remember exactly what it was. It's like they have no money to sign anybody else between now and then. Like now and the rest of the season.
And before any of y'all say, "Oh well, I'm sure that there's some guy out there in the street that'll play for free," they can't. They legally can't. There's like a minimum wage in the NBA. Okay,
And they ain't even got that.
and they don't have that. And I feel that when I've never seen a Texas team broke before. like like ramen noodles broke. I know some of y'all gonna go back and watch it and be like,
we done all been there.
they cannot pay for anyone to come off the street. Like, oh man, I would just do it just for the vibes. I would do it just to be able to get my name out there. Blah blah blah. Guys, you got to pay full attention. We want to bring this to your attention because yes, Dallas needs help. They can't buy anyone. They cannot buy a bucket right now. They couldn't go and hit up the professor, although he might be charging like $1 million. If I were him, I'd charge $1 million. I don't care. Vet minimum my butt. You see my viral videos. They need a big guy. I know that they have their G League affiliates, but they can't sign those guys because they have 3 guys on said contracts that are basically like they can't do anything until April. There's just so many things. These guys are broke and handcuffed. They're basically waiting on their next paycheck. This is a team living up paycheck to paycheck, body week to week, body to body.
It is
It,
tough out there.
I don't think we've seen this type level of like punishment from the basketball gods in maybe Miami had the injury bug. Oh, jeez,
You
no.
think it's some years back.
This is worse than San Antonio. Like all of Texas right now, there's an injury bug going around in Texas. Between
Dude,
Ahmed Thompson, between Victor Wembanyama,
the whole Dallas Mavs
all Dallas
roster.
Mavericks. There's no equivalent. I can't think of in the almost 40 years I've been on this earth and the basketball knowledge that I've had. I can't remember a time where a team was so badly. I remember when they sat players and they barely had anyone left, but it hasn't been this bad to my knowledge. Someone got to hit me with stat me's on that one.
And what makes it interesting is like you talking about they play today and the Suns are like a game and a half behind them.
Behind them.
That makes today interesting for the simple fact that I don't want to get too much into Lakers talk, but we play the Suns today. I'm not sure who Dallas plays, but
I can tell you
obviously Dallas is rooting for us to
to
beat
win.
Phoenix so they can kind of keep that gap between them and they get a win against whoever they play. But even then, it's like the fact that they're injury ravaged is like crazy and they're still in a position to be in the play-in and still possibly get AD back and still without Kyrie
Make a run.
at a playoff spot is,
Well, are they rooting for us?
I mean, I don't think they want Phoenix to
Or
win. They're just
or better yet, who in Dallas is rooting for us?
I'm gonna be real.
Where my GM at?
I'm about to say Nico better be in witness protection.
Nico is it's probably only Nico. I mean, I don't like to get petty or I don't like to get like messy on here on this because we like to keep it strictly basketball. We talk about the drama in between, but Rico, what you're saying makes a little bit of sense as far as like because Dallas was up, Dallas was ceiling. Okay, I mean, what they did last year in that playoff run was absolutely phenomenal to be able to establish themselves to score enough points. But Iggy did make an interesting point about Dallas and their ability getting throughout the playoffs that they didn't score enough. And so maybe Nico was onto something to say we kind of need this team to fall apart a little bit so it could blow out so we can see who the real scorers are. Because by volume, we're not that team, which is fine. But it still doesn't change the fact that the way that Dallas had played, the way that they were carrying themselves and getting healthy, they were still cream of the crop in a division that was really hard to get through. That was supposed to be featuring the next generational talent and Victor Wembanyama, with a Houston team that we weren't sure where they were going to be at. Again, I projected them way down here. That's neither here nor there. So we said Dallas is going to be up here again, right? And now they're fighting for the last play-in spot. I think for a team, if you believed when you were up here, I think, yeah, you're playing while you're down here. So, yes, rooting for us. But you will have Klay Thompson, Caleb Martin, Anthony Davis. You will have
I'm about to say Jaden Hardy, but he's out. Um, Max Christie.
Max. That's right. You have
Yeah.
Max Christie. Dwight Powell, maybe.
I'm a, I'm
Who?
I'm gonna keep it a buck with you though. Like from a pettiness standpoint, I kind of want Dallas to at least stay in that 10 spot because I legitimately want to see this whole thing with Phoenix blow up in their face. Because there was a lot of people like throughout this past year and even last year when the KD trade went down, it's like, oh, Phoenix is gonna make a run. They got KD, they got Book, they got Beal. And I'm sitting here like, even after last year, I had no faith in this team making a run.
I had a little,
I really didn't.
not
Like
even a little
given
bit.
no, I really didn't. And people may look at me like I'm crazy. Like I just didn't think that they were gonna be able to do anything because I know how KD is. I know how I've seen these guys play before, and it's like the continuity of everything, how everything's been going with them so far throughout the season, and it's just been a bunch of up and down. Like all three of the big three that they have, they all can't necessarily stay healthy at once. You got in and out between all three of them. There's not really a lot of continuity. You got people, going off on spurts every so often. But I'm just also like, dog, y'all, they're not putting the fear of God in anybody. Personally, they really aren't, in my general opinion. And I think at some point, like they're not gonna pack it up because with the guys that they have on the roster, they have too much pride in that. But when you look at the top three guys that they have, and I look at where the game is right now, and just looking at how the season has gone for them, and even especially now that they're not even in the top 10 of the standings, like you're not gonna sit here and convince me at this current time, and you sure as hell weren't gonna convince me at the beginning of the season that they were gonna be title contenders. Like, on paper, people can sit here and say, oh yeah, on paper, you got Beal, Booker, Durant. That is a title contending team. And then you put them on the court and you got something going on every single night. And to kind of close that out, like I feel as though they are what their record is. There's that phrase, you look at some teams like you're only as good as your record is. And I'm like, well, some teams are better, some teams are worse.
Mm-hmm.
They are where they need to be. And at this point, I'm hoping that this blows up in their face and that they're not going to tear down to the studs, but you know, you're going to have to go in a different direction here.
That
Personally.
I I think it was again. I'm one of those people that had a little bit of faith. I said, all right, top heavy, whatever, shoot out the West because they could possibly do it. I had them. I projected them as winners of the Pacific Conference, man. When we did our projections for the season, they were the team to beat. It was going to be a hard beat. They weren't going to completely run away with it. Had LA right behind them. Boy, was I wrong. I like sometimes I like being wrong because then we could talk about why. Because if I'm right, then it's like I think that's the better part. I like the story behind. Oh, they missed the play in, and now we can talk about why. What was our preseason assessment versus what really happened? I like that because it creates a better build, a better talking point, better story. And on the other side, I hate being wrong because we talked about the ability of KD to carry any team. He carried
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn. All right. That's just I'm
Call it
just
what it
not
is.
I'm not gonna BS with you. That 73 win team with KD, the winningest team in NBA history on Golden State, was fronted by KD. You can't talk me out of that point. I watched those games. I watched 90% of those games. It was taken by KD. Okay. So this is a guy that's supposed to be able to maintain and push teams into and through the playoffs. He almost has a Chris Paul effect. What the double hockey sticks is happening in Arizona right now that's preventing a team that's built this way to get any traction and success into the playoffs. And it's almost like the sound of their losses is so muffled, it's so quiet that by the time you look up, we're almost done with the season. Why is Phoenix not there? what happened. You were so busy paying attention to Anthony Edwards because of the noise behind him as a player. You're paying attention to Oklahoma City Thunder because they're in the lead, and you guys watch the NBA just like we do. Hopefully, you're paying attention to Denver because it's Denver, and Denver is now forever. And you guys did this to yourselves. You guys did this to yourself. Denver is forever tied with the Lakers. We didn't want any smoke. We just said, y'all got it. Y'all beat us. Jokic is the dude. Now we're forever tied with Denver again. Shout out to Kobe. We're forever tied with Denver. So, Denver, you're talking about Denver. You're talking about the Lakers, of course. We stopped talking about the Clippers because and then you get a mix of other teams in between. You look up and you forget about Phoenix. I think that's also what happened. I think the team forgot about itself and what it was trying to do. That midseason change that change to Mike Budenholzer as a coach, I think was the wrong direction. I think that despite the team completely butting heads, they were on their way to doing something great, and Budenholzer wasn't the coach. Not that he's a bad coach. I just think that the pairing does not mesh well. And someone got to go, and I think it's KD. I think KD is completely comfortable with leaving Arizona. I would be. I'd be okay with leaving Phoenix. I mean, downtown Scottsdale is cool and everything like that, but you ain't gonna catch me slipping. I'm gonna go take my talents elsewhere. Maybe you can go back to.
You can't say Golden State because he already shut that down.
I mean, yeah, he rightfully should. Like, I think that chapter closed. It didn't close in the best way, but it closed as best as it could given the circumstances. So, I mean, you don't get rid of. See, that's what KD makes you do. He makes you forget about your stars' names. Phoenix.
Booker. Bill.
Okay, thank you. Devin Booker. Book's not going anywhere.
Do you think Book is a lifer?
He better be. if for what's good for his money, the franchise as a whole, I think that KD is just renting right now, and Booker has real estate, like a full-on commercial building. Okay, I believe in Booker being a lifer as a Phoenix Sun, and he should be retired as such. I say it along the lines of, like, from the draft to retirement, there should be some players that should be able to write their stories in and have the vocabulary use talking about their careers that reflects success. Yes, rings aren't there. Yeah, playoff appearances aren't a bunch. But as far as being a face, as being able to carry a franchise, which the league tends to forget franchises. We know this. We talk about this at large. Like, reasons why we don't watch basketball is because the NBA is because you're not talking about Cleveland. You're not talking about OKC. Those are franchises. The franchises are winning, and when you're winning, or you have a player that's in the top whatever category of that year, the top 10, top 25, you have an obligation to keep that player there for the brand, for the product. There's a reason why the Dallas Cowboys have not gotten rid of their quarterback. They haven't gotten rid of Dak. There's a reason why certain quarterbacks stay around in the league is because there's an obligation to protect the shield, to protect the product, and trading away Devin Booker just completely destroys Phoenix's product and the league's product at large. Jimmy Butler, luckily, turned himself into the type of commodity that was able to be passable around the league. KD turned himself into a commodity that was able to be a general a representation of the league, so he's able to move around. Bradley Bill just sitting back there somewhere, like
I got my money and I got a no trade clause.
I got.
No, he really said that. And I'm like, bruh.
No, no, no. As someone that works in retail, I'm like I'm totally for it. I got my money. I got no trade clause. Y'all do what you got to do. I'm gonna clock in. Okay. I'm. He also said I'm thankful for the opportunity that I have. He's not complaining because he's just like, listen, I come in, I show up to work. Whatever the results of that may be, are the results. I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go back and forth about it, really. And I'm for that. Like, yeah, team's a mess, and we're not in the best of standings right now. But I'm one of what's the number? I'm one of 450 out of billions in the world. I'm good. Okay. It's not great, but I'm thankful. And I appreciate that type of mindset because you may take it as a slight, but you're not one of the 450. So shut up. This is the TSA Hoop Show with JR. Got my boy Rico right beside me. Getting close to the end of it and talked a little bit about the separation of the league right now. Went through some of the standings. We got to go through the Eastern Conference real quick. We're going to blow through this. We're going to talk a little about some games that you might be able to look at, maybe bet on. Washington money line, maybe again this week. Let's do it real quick. Okay, standings as it is in the East. Of course, we know 1, 2, 3. Who's number one, Rico?
Cavaliers on
Who's number
a
two?
17 game winning streak, something like that. It's
16. They're going for 17 today.
okay. 2, we already know it's Boston.
Okay, who's 3?
3 is should be Milwaukee, right?
No, they're close. They're getting there. They're slowly inching their way up. It's still New York.
The
One,
next. Oh, okay.
yeah, 1, 2, 3. Cleveland, and then Boston 8 games behind Cleveland, and then New York 6 games behind Boston. Okay, that's sticking for a while because number 4, Milwaukee, who's four games behind New York, taking them Draymond L's and still in the playoffs. Indiana Pacers, for what it's worth, right behind the Bucks, and if they tied today, Milwaukee does win that tiebreaker. So there's that.
They get home court. Okay.
Indiana at 5. Bad boy Pistons at number 6.
Detroit basketball.
And they keep replaying that game that they had against OKC, and I'm starting to question the refereeing a little bit myself in favor of OKC. But still, shout out to Shea for MVP. And then for the play-in spots at number 7, ATL showed it at 32 and 35. That's right, guys. If you are under 500, you are definitely making the play-in over in the East Conference. Petty. Orlando Magic, a game and a half behind Atlanta at 31 and 37. At number 8, Miami, without their big head coffee now, at 29 and... No, my mic didn't cut off. I just stopped. West Coast is the best coast. Fight me on it. 29 and 38. The Miami Heat are number 9. Heat culture. And number 10. Chicago Bulls are a game behind Miami at 28 and 39. And I feel like that's the standing. I feel like that's it. I don't think that's changing. I don't think nothing's changing in the East.
I the same because the fact that oh my god, the Bulls. Hey, I'm gonna be real with you. Like, there's a creator out there, Kenny Beecham, king of the fourth quarter, big Bulls fan. He's kind of back and forth on the Bulls. He's like he wants them to kind of like fall out because he's hoping for that lottery, maybe the Cooper Flag sweepstakes. But he's like, damn, now we in the play in. So it's like he's still gonna rock with him. I'm also just like,
You
bro.
know what? And I feel him the problem is that all right, say if like getting outside of the plane is like this door that you just try you're like this room you're trying to escape from, right?
Escape room.
All right. So or like your brother shove you in a closet or something like that. That's what the play-in tournament is right now in the East Coast because Chicago made their trade, uh the Caruso Giddy trade. They make their other trades, whatever. Sacramento and whatnot. The problem is, all right, 11 is Toronto, 12 is Philly, 13 is Brooklyn, 14 is Charlotte, 15 is Washington. There's only one of those teams that was trying to make playoffs this year. So literally, you have four brothers pushing on the door, keeping you locked inside the closet. I don't think Chicago's being let outside of the play. I think they're gaming the system so hard. These teams. First of all, they're gonna have to check for collusion in the NBA, but they will not. They won't let Chicago out of the 10th spot. So while Chicago could try and punt, I don't. I think they've won too many games. This is a prime example of how it can hurt you if you actually try. This is so bad. There's 4 games. There's a 4-game separation between Chicago and Toronto. They're not. They're making the play in. I'm sorry.
And then they got to try to win 2 games, which
And then because you have to reward, like, you get the play and you have to reward yourself, right? So you have to beat Miami, who is trying to make playoffs. That's what doesn't make sense. Miami is trying to make the playoffs. Chicago is not trying to make the playoffs. So when you get to that 9-10 game and you're Miami versus Chicago, if you're Chicago, do you punt that game? Do you say, sorry guys, we weren't supposed to be?
it's like this was an accident. Would you actually sit down and watch that game? If that was a 9-10, would you watch that?
Yes. Yes. because you know how you get the turn into the wrong neck of the neighborhood and you're somewhere you're not supposed to be.
Lord.
You sit in your car and your homie's looking at you as a co-pilot, like, why'd you make that turn? You were supposed to turn it a while ago. Why are we here? And that's Chicago.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I love all the Chicago fans out there for real. But I know, like, from the bottom of my heart, I know that you guys are a storied franchise. Chicago basketball is nothing to play with. Has produced a lot of great talent. Anthony Davis being one of them, Jimmy Butler being another one of them. I mean, the list goes on. Dwayne Wade, the list goes on and on. But Chicago Bulls as a franchise for this season, I know y'all not trying to make playoffs. And Toronto is literally stepping in front of the door that you guys are trying to get out of, and you're not escaping. You're in purgatory right now. It sucks. Because sub 500 teams are supposed to be the teams that are just struggling to get wins and can barely make it, which is a representation of what the play-in is. It's like we want to try to no, like you said just not too long ago, Rico, we're better than our record. We just happen to go up against like Denver 4 times a year and Los Angeles 6 times a year, and we go up against better Western Conference teams, which is why we're so beat up right now. And I think if you're Miami, you really tried to make playoffs, and you had a superstar that basically shanghaied those chances. You had lots of injuries to a lot of your players. Your younger prospects aren't stepping up. I mean, Jaime Jaquez, his season went from 100 to 0 real quickly. That needs to be talked about and studied at length, because we were, as Lakers fans, talking about, dang, we missed out. That was the JTA draft pick. We missed out on Jaime Jaquez and picked Juan Toscano Anderson instead. And Jaime Jaquez went out and had that amazing year. And we were like, why didn't we pick up Jaquez, who went to UCLA, who's an LA native?
wait, was
Like,
that JT? Was that not? I thought that was Jalen Hood-Schifino.
maybe
That
one
draft.
of the two. But
But
But one of them, like just we
Yeah.
missed, and now we traded both. Like both are gone, and Jaquez is nowhere to. And I'm saying this not just from like watching as a player. I'm watching him in my fantasy, and he's molding on my bench. He's had maybe 10 good games all season. So Miami story needs to be studied. But yes, I'm watching that 9-10 game just to see if Chicago punts. Do they say, we don't want anybody to get injured this year? We don't care about you making the 8th seed. We don't care about that. Because that's that's Chicago at Miami. And then, of course, Miami wins that one. And it's the loser between Atlanta and Orlando. And I think that Atlanta wins that game. So Miami at Orlando, and Orlando has Miami's number. I don't want none of that smoke if I'm Chicago. I don't care. We're not ready. We're not ready. I'm sorry. We're not supposed to be here. We missed the turn. Y'all, Eastern Conference is zipped up right now. Toronto going to lock that stuff down. They're going to put a hard cap at that 11th spot. None of y'all are look, you guys are all in this with me. You are going to help me keep this month Chicago up in them play-ins so that way we can get our lottery picks. If y'all try to play your way into the play-in, I swear to God, I'm someone getting the Tanya Harding treatment. Philly, I'm looking at you. Western Conference standings set at OKC at 1, Houston at 2, Denver at 3, Memphis at 4. Again, 2, 3, and 4, all at 43 and 25. So anything can happen over the next week. Lakers at 5, Golden State Warriors on a 7-game burner right now is at 6. Minnesota Timberwolves also at a 7-game burner. Both teams at 39 wins at 6 and 7 respectively. LA Clippers, with the second play-in team at 37 and 30, are number 8. Sacramento Kings at 533 wins and losses. And number 9, the Dallas Mavericks, limping into the last spot at 33 and 35 at number 10. Phoenix right behind them at number 11. San Antonio, shout out to Wemby, CP3, number 12. Portland down there somewhere. Number 13, New Orleans, mathematically out, 18 wins of the year. Number 14, and then Utah Jazz. Last spot. You know what? Here's my question. Who is the worst team in the league right now?
Is it not Charlotte? I feel
It's
like it might
Utah.
be.
It's
Oh,
Utah.
Utah.
It's Utah. Utah, then by half a game, then Washington. Now to think about it, Jordan Poole shot them out of more lottery balls. So Denver might have won that. Oh, you trying to get Cooper Flag? Go
I
ahead, play
bet.
that, Jordan. Go ahead, Jordan.
You got it.
Sitting there walking off all frustrated with smiles under the mouth, like we try to tell him he's not listening. His teammates are just happy that they won. We're happy we got a dub today, and I get it. Anyway, those are the standings right now. I think talking about the gaps have been sort of eye-opening just to see like how things are going to show her up. I think the East is basically locked up right now. We got 2 teams that are mathematically in, and then 2 teams that are mathematically out. The rest of the league is shaking up right now. And it's not just like who makes playoffs, it's where they make it at. Because again, 1 through 6 is guaranteed. 7 through 10 got that play in, and then they got 1 or 2 games to get in. So, Rico, we asked this question last week. I asked it again this week. One team that's definitely got your eye. That's not the number one. We're not talking about Cleveland and OKC, but one team that's definitely in that you think is making all the right moves, is getting good at all the right times to get into this playoff. Who is it?
I hate to say this, but I'm looking out west. I think it is the Warriors. I mean, they're peaking at the right time. I know a lot of people looking at them was like they haven't really played anybody healthy when they play on this streak. I'm like, look, you can sit here and say that all you want. At the end of the day, you play who's out there on the court, and they're making the most out of that situation. They're riding hot right now with Jimmy Butler in the squad, and I, I mean, they're sitting right there at six.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be easy. I mean, I feel like they're gonna be topped out at that six spot. They may get to five. I don't know, but they're in the top six. I will say that. And then whoever gets them, whether it be that 3-6 matchup or that 4-5,
It's gonna be a tough out. That's
Steph
for
is
sure.
still a dog.
That's
Remember that.
that's a tough out. I got Houston. Houston gonna get 100%. They're coming, y'all. Taking off. Take off. All right, that's it for us today. Probably gonna get back to the same bad time, same bad channel next week, next Sunday. So you guys make sure that you tune in. Thank you for tuning in today. If you did, if you didn't, if you're watching this later, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button. Don't forget to follow us on X. And wherever you subscribe, don't forget to go to thesportsaffiliation.com. Don't forget that we are releasing our awards picks every week. Rico, appreciate you joining me today. You have a happy Sunday. Everyone have a happy Sunday. Go Lakers.
He's out.
All right. We out, y'all. Peace.